I had to go get the bike safety check today, so I figured I'd stop by here at this place called it's referred to as the Winding Road by the Snake Road by motorcyclists. Pretty noisy roads, and I'm filming this on my phone, so hopefully you can hear me. But you know what I want to talk about while we're on the subject of heritage clothing really is the terminologies used. They're foreign to me, most of them, but there are a lot of things that we use, right? Starting with selvage itself, right hand twill, left hand twill, bar tacks, all of these other things. Numerous terms used that most of us take it for granted because what we want to do is just go to a store online and take a look at the sizing, buy it, and then have no clue what happens afterwards when we wear it, wash it, make it a daily part of our being, you know what I mean? So I think it's important to know some of the terms so that when you buy, you kind of know what you're looking at, you kind of know what you're talking about, and you're not foreign to this. So it's going to be a long video. I'm going to probably have to do this in many other ways, but for now, that's my introduction, and grab your favorite beverage, maybe a cigar, which I will soon enough when I finish this video, and then join me. Here we go. It's been a while since I went running, maybe a couple of weeks. I've been lifting weights, but I don't think that's enough for me anyways. Gotta do some cardio for your heart, right? So I'm gonna go running. We'll see if that helps. I know that also helps with my mental state, so I can't wait to get back to it and just do it. A couple of miles, nice and slow. Ooh, it's hot, I'm sweating, but got through it. It's the beginning. First word, selvage, selvage, whatever the spelling is, usually Selvedge or Selvage, was derived from the word self and edge. We all know of selvage, particularly in jeans, as the common term called selvage, right? But it really is the fabric. The fabric is called selvage. So selvage is made really tight, right? It's woven really tight, but normally different threads. And because it is so tight, it's durable and it doesn't unravel easily. And you have a finished edge. It is the one we see when it's called the Selvedge ID. When we fold or cuff the denim to show off that Selvedge ID, that's what selvage is. If you compare selvage to normally produced pair of pants, if you look at the edges of the normally produced pair of pants are really thrown in easily, or thrown in, I wouldn't say carelessly, but they built it or they make it in factories by large numbers. Most selvage jeans are still made in the old loom factories in Japan. Those loom factories that were left by the Americans in the 1940s, they still use those. There is an art to it, and Japanese is big about that. So they have restored the loom factories, and they continue to use it and continue to make self-edge or selvage jeans or fabric from these factories. Now in America, the cone denim mills in North Carolina have closed down a while back. There are still cone mills denim or fabric available because they made a lot before they closed down. But those loom factories are old. They're like, I don't know, in the 1920s when they started those things, or maybe even earlier, early 1920s when they started those things. And technology won. It's easier to make fabric now with technology than using the old school mills and why they closed. Anyways, back to Selvage. Somewhere in the 1920s, Levi's made vintage denim out of the cone mills fabric. And because they were so popular back then, and they wanted to have identify their own Levi's self-edge fabric, they started to insert a red thread in the fabric itself during the make, and that's why the red tab Levi's came about. Now, other popular jean company like Wranglers and Lee's have their own color. I think Lee's is like yellow and Wrangler is green. And those were like the competition back then on heavy duty denim. I think, in my opinion, the 501 red tab Levi's, that silhouette is still being made or being the um, basis for a lot of selvage jeans today. Now I know it's easy to just dismiss and say, well, selvage is selvage, whatever. Uh, for me, the story behind it is important because that's the reason why I'm in heritage clothing, is because I love the story behind it. I'm passionate about it, right? And the beginning of self-edge jeans, self-edge fabric really is in America, and of course started also in Japan when the Japanese took over the loom factories that were built by the Americans when they were there in the 1940s. Now there are many salvage fabric being made all throughout the world, but I focus mainly on the Japanese and American selvage because uh, I kind of like that heritage better, right? I'm not saying the other salvage from other companies or around the world is bad. I'm just saying is that my focus is the American and the Japanese salvage. So that's what salvage is. Part of my routine in the morning is to do yard work, water plants, feed the ducks, and every time I come out here, I have 8 of these toy fox terriers, and they're waiting for me. You can probably hear them, but I'm going to show you what happens when they're waiting for me. They're waiting for snacks or to be fed. I'm going to put this to make sure they don't come up here because they're dirtying the side of the walls. You guys waiting for snacks? Waiting for snacks? Hey. No, I don't know all the terminologies when it comes to heritage clothing, salvage jeans. I have to rely on my good old phone most of the time to figure out what that is. But with my experience, I can tell you that the things I'm going to tell you today are mostly what you need when you're getting into the world of heritage clothing, salvage jeans, right, or salvage jacket, anything salvage. So the next term is I'll just go over what the terminologies are as I go over the salvage jeans that I have here. When you're purchasing salvage jeans, you have to rely on the online information or the website information of the company you're buying the salvage jeans. If it's used, you have to rely on what the previous owner provides to you. But at the same time, if they don't provide anything, because sometimes not everybody provides the information you need, then you need to ask. You need to ask this information. First is sizing. How do you know what size you are if you're purchasing a brand new pair of selvage jeans? Well, first you need to know what size you are, really, right? Do not go by the size of your waist on the pants that you're wearing, because the materials used shrink, extend, or expand, things like that. What you want to do is take the most comfortable pair of jeans that you have when it comes to sizing on the waist, lay it out flat on the floor, and then measure it from end to end. The top band right here is what you want to know. End to end right here. Measure it. You multiply that by 2 and that is your actual waist size or your comfortable waist size. Next is the length, of course. Most of you just know the size of your waist and your length because you go to the store and you'll see signs. This is in inches. They'll say 32 by 30 or 32 by 29, whatever it is, right? But if you're buying from a Selvage store or you're buying used from someone, you want to know the exact length that you want by measuring, again, your most comfortable pair of jeans. So you want the measurement of your inseam. Inseam meaning inside. This is the outside, the inside of your jeans. So from here to the bottom of this is your inseam. When I purchase Selvage jeans, I normally purchase a longer inseam than what I actually use because I like to fold them, right? I've made a totally whole new video about folding. If you want to see that, you can go to my channel, but that's what it's all about. I have 8 of these guys in the yard and they eat a lot. So, what do I gotta do? Every day, pick up their doo-doo. Fact, most men don't give a shit about all of these things that I'm talking about. And if you're one of those that just want to bypass it, it's easy, right? Go talk to your friend, female friend, wife, girlfriend, mom, because women know their sizes, know all of these terminologies like the back of their hand. Most women will probably just tell you that it doesn't matter what make of jeans they are, Selvage or whatever, they're okay so long as the fit is good. There are a few women, however, that knows about Selvage jeans and heritage clothing, so that's our advantage. Anyways, continuing on with what I'm talking about here. Other things you need to know about jeans. Let me just go back to the rise real quick. So the rise, like I said, is measured from here to the top of your button right there. That's how you know you have low rise or high rise, right? It's important that you should measure that with your favorite jeans because that's ultimately the fit, how it hangs in your waist is what you want with jeans. Most jeans, I like low rise. I like it hanging, a little bit lower on my waist. That's all up to you. Some like it high, some like it low, right? I like to wear it low. Not low to the point where my underwear is showing or anything like that, but just low. You know what I'm talking about. Another important part of measuring jeans, or the terminology used for measuring jeans, is the actual wideness of it, right? So you'll see or hear about the thigh width. Again, measurement for the thighs is from here to here. The knee is from here to here. Pretty simple. And of course, you heard about leg opening, and leg opening definitely is just from here to here. Now, that's important because, my opinion, most men will fit good on a straight-legged jeans. Some will fit in wide leg. There's also skinny fit. There's also baggy fit. There's also semi-regular fit. On the brakes, pant brakes, right? It's how it sits on your boots and how it folds. How many fold is the brake of your pants? Another terminology used, right? How many brakes do you want? Some like it stacked. New terminology is used, to where the bottom of the jeans is stacked on top of your shoes or your boots, and some don't want any stack. Selvage ID is another one. Just kind of going back, I know I've talked about it, but how do you know what Selvage ID you have? Well, a couple of ways, in my opinion. One is in the bottom of the jeans. This one is red ID. This is the Selvedge from the flathead with red ID. And another one is in the pocket. If you look in the front of the pocket, inside of it, or sometimes outside, you'll see the um, Selvedge ID. Now you got to be careful about this because it's possible that some manufacturer don't even use selvage jeans. They just stitch Selvage ID on the places you can see. So you have to make sure from top to bottom it is Selvage. Other identification of the jeans, the patch right here, the leather patch. A lot of jean company take pride in making those patches, and most of them are made out of like cow hide or 100% leather, right? So a word of caution when it comes to patches: please do not soak that in hot water like I did. Such a dumbass, but I created my own patch for one of my jeans, and I'll probably show that to you here. Okay. I think I've pretty much covered some of the most common ones you hear when you start to venture into selvage jeans, but here are additional ones real quick, right? Button flies instead of zipper, they're button flies, and most selvage jeans, I say most because some are zippers, are button flies. I prefer the button fly. Rivets, those are rivets, and they're everywhere. Bar tacks, so bar tacks. It's really just double stitching on some of the areas that are important. Like this one's coming off already on my flathead. Fades, pretty easy, right? Honeycomb will look like honeycombs. You cannot see it, but it's there somewhere. And when it comes to fades, by the way, I have read and heard that the heavier the material, the faster they fade. And that's because maybe the dye doesn't really stick too much to thicker materials than thinner materials. But in my case and my experience, I haven't really gotten that faster fade. Maybe because I don't wear my heavy jeans all the time. But I can tell you that my 14.5, for example, 14.5 Brave Star, it has some fading going on. I've worn that more than anything else, but it's not as fast as I thought it would be. We're just getting smart enough to know, what we need to know so that we can make the right decision, right? So, Sanforized and Sunfire, I usually get a lot of questions about why did it shrink, why did it expand, did it loosen up? It has to do with Sanforized and unsunforized. And this is some of the things that we don't see or we don't read about when we buy a pair of Selvage. It's because we are so just in the moment, right? And we want to buy a Selvage and show it off to our friends. But Sanforized, any jeans will shrink or expand just a little bit. But Sanforized is usually something that's been pre-soaked by the factory and and sold to the public with the intention that it shouldn't shrink or expand or loosen up too much, right? Too much. That's why some of my jeans, even though they're Sanforized, have shrunk a little bit. Unsanforized, on the other hand, is like raw denim, right? The shrink to fit denim. That is what unsanforized is. This is why it's important, because if you buy the exact size you are with unsanforized jeans, the moment you wash it, the moment you soak it, then it will shrink a couple of sizes down and then it doesn't fit you anymore. So you got to be careful with that, right? If you buy raw denim or raw jeans like the Levi's shrink to fit, you want to make sure that you're getting the right size that will eventually be your size. Hit or miss, but there are other experts out there that can tell you what you should be looking for. And the source you have should be on the place that you're buying it. If you're buying raw denim or if you're buying shrink to fit, you want to buy it from a reputable source and not from somebody online unless you really trust them. But buy it from a reputable source like a store, try it on to make sure that you're getting the right one. When it finally shrinks and fits you, it's the right one, right? So sand fries and sand fries. That's all I got to say about that. Given you made this far, thank you. It's a long video, but I think it's necessary to record what I have to say because this is important when you're purchasing selvage jeans, right? So anyway, like I said, this wasn't going to be a video without some cigars. So grab your drinks. I have my iced coffee here, and then we're going to smoke this Baccarat 1871 Baccarat. I think I've pretty much covered the most terms that's used for selvage, and some of the terms I'm going to cover are it's something that you probably don't even have to know, but it's important. My face is probably on the darker side because the sun is hiding over there, and I got my camera set up to where you can see the background, which is the beauty of where I live, Hawaii. Anyways, when you no selvage are alike. In fact, selvage jeans that are made by the same factory have differences in them. I can tell you that. Uh, by make, by model, whatever have you, and then when they start to fade, when they start to get used, they have different reactions to different things, right? So none is alike. But one of the things that we wanted to do as denim heads, that is to own a pair of jeans, to own a pair of selvage that we can use every day and then forms into our body, fades based on the activities and what the things we put in the pockets and things like that, right? So aside from the our terms already covered, there are things that affect that, such as cat dogs. Terms like right hand twill, left hand twill, the twisting of the fabric when they get old. Most of those are made by the makers to create the character that it does when it finally fades, gets washed, and soaked. I have no idea what happened. Didn't burn anything. I have this old pair of sugarcane jeans that twisted so much that at this point, when I fold it, the Selvage ID is like one leg on the front and one leg on the back because it is a right hand twill and it's kind of twisted that way as you washed, as I washed them, as I used them, as it faded, and it started doing this twisting thing. It feels kind of weird, but it is a character of denim when it happens. When it finally gets uh, when it when it finally gets used and fade. You ever heard of the term rope dyed indigo? Um, Again, something I ignored before, but I have to know what the term is, right? So the yarns are shaped like ropes and then dipped in indigo multiple times to achieve the color they want normally, right? In Japan, they still do it the old school way. That's why Japanese selvage is very expensive because everything is handmade. Everything is passionately dyed. right? And you can't get that anywhere else in the world, in my opinion. I know. It can be argued that there are places where you can't. That's probably done it that way, but I know about Japan because I was there and I know the process, right? That is why I'm so um, into Japanese selvage and American selvage, but mainly Japanese selvage because of the way the process of dyeing them, the process of making them in the old school loom factories, the old school rope dyeing process, and even the indigo they used are all natural indigo um, to color the jeans. Other terms, warp and weft, is just the horizontal, vertical way, the way the yarns are weaved together. Um, I think I covered raw denim initially. Um, Same term as dry denim. Denim head is somebody that's passionate about the process of making selvage. Denim is jeans. I think I've covered all of them, right? And I don't want to make this video too damn long, even though I'm pretty sure you enjoy my voice and my video. But if I forgot something, or simply just want to add, just leave a comment down below, right? And let's start a discussion about this. But this is pretty much, those are the terms that we kind of need to be familiarized with if you're into selvage denim or selvage jeans, jacket, selvage material, whatever have you, to be able to maintain this heritage look, heritage lifestyle, right? Uh, Look, I'm getting a lot of comments about continuing to make videos about heritage lifestyle. I know heritage clothing is big in places around the world. I am not the expert on this, but I just want to continue to talk about this because, in my opinion, I believe the heritage style is really classic, right? Classic man style. It can be a style of any ages, shape, sizes, weight, height, whatever have you. It's distinct, right? It's distinct. You can see it from a mile away if someone is on heritage style like you are, not hitting on any other style that men have today or in the past. I'm just saying is that for me, it's all about heritage style and heritage classic style for someone like me that's 50 or older. And like I said, right, this is my style. Take what you need, leave the rest, whatever have you. That's pretty much all I have for you. I'm going to enjoy the cigar, enjoy my coffee, relax in this Saturday evening here. Maybe wash my car, do other chores, and I'm glad to share that with you. So that's all I have for you this week. You have a good one. Mahalo and aloha.